Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for your attention. Now we have very special guest. He is speaking not from the Czech Republic or from Prague, as you see, but online from United States, I guess. So I welcome here online Dan Ariely, who is an Israeli-American professor and author of very interesting literature. Mr. Ariely, or Professor Ariely, is James B. Duke Professor of Psychology and Behavioral Sciences at Duke University. And from 2012 to last year, he wrote an advice column for Wall Street Journal called Ask Ariely. So now we have a chance to ask him in person. He is author of a number of books, best-selling. Some of them are New York Times best-selling books. In English, their names are, for example, Predictable Irrational, The Upside of Irrationality, or The Honest Truth About Dishonesty. In Czech, these books were published under the names of like Iracionálně, váš, jak drahá je intuice, jak drahá je nepoctivost a jak drahé je zdarma. Mr. Ariely today will be speaking about, especially about what people leads rational people, what leads rational people to believe in irrational things and even conspiracies. And I would like to ask first question, Mr. Ariely, because you were born in New York, but then you moved with your family at the age of 3 or something to Israel, and you grew up in this country. So what's your view on current situation in Israel, especially do you think that the current war between Israel and Hamas will be a long-lasting event, or we may expect some kind of blitzkrieg? That's the first question. And second, it's related very closely to your today's topic. What is role in this war of conspiracies? Because we may see conspiracies surrounding events and killings, and on social networks and in social media we see many things, and it's very difficult to distinguish for a layman like, for example, me, what's reality and what's just some kind of conspiracy. So thank you, and the floor is yours.
Very good. So hello to everybody. I apologize. This is going to be one of the shortest talks in history because we scheduled it to go until 10:30, and I have another appointment I have to go to at 10:30. So this will be very quick. But I'm in New York right now, but I just came back from Israel yesterday, and I think the situation is incredibly depressing and severe. And I think there's a couple of versions of why it's depressing and severe. Of course, I don't know how much you've been following the massacre on October 7th, but some of the images and brutality have been, I think, larger than you can imagine. If you've been watching horror movies at all, some of the things that happened on October 7th have been beyond anything that we have seen. And the challenge with that, aside from the brutality itself, is that it really asks the question about, is there a way to move forward? As an analogy, imagine you're in negotiation with somebody, whether it's a business negotiation or a social negotiation, or it's a romantic relationship. And all of a sudden you find out that the person that you're negotiating with is capable of brutality that you have never imagined is humanly possible. Is there a way forward? Is there a way to continue? And I don't know the answer for that. I don't really know the answer, but I think there's the question of the immediate reaction. And then the question is there ever a possibility of putting this behind and moving forward? And I'm not sure what the possibility is. The second thing that is very unclear is, I don't know how it is in the Czech Republic, but there have been increase in anti-Semitism all over the world. I'm in the US now. I see lots of university students calling to liberate Palestine from the river to the sea. I don't necessarily know if they understand what they're saying, but they're calling for the annihilation of Israel, right? If Palestine is going to be from the river to the sea, that means Israel needs to be erased from the map. We see about 1,200% increase in enticements of violence against Jewish people. We see lots of things happening. That's a second worrisome trend. And then finally, there's a real question of whether what is happening in Israel right now, in Israel and Gaza, is a local war or is it a more global war? You've probably seen that they are shooting from Yemen, there are things from Syria, a few American bombs, a base were bombed. It looks like Iran is deeply involved. Is this a local scenario that could easily develop into a third world war? That's certainly a possibility, and it's a very worrisome. I think there's a non-zero likelihood that this could entice a larger war than Israel Hamas, and that of course will be horrific. I will say that individually it's been very, very tough. I have friends, of course, that from all categories. Somebody who is working with me on a project to try and help Bedouin women, Bedouin girls, young women, to get driver license, to help it more likely that they will get a job later, was kidnapped. Other friends, relatives of friends were kidnapped. I've kids of friends in hospital, quite a few were killed. At this magnitude, I don't think there's a person in Israel that is not connected to somebody who was either killed, injured, kidnapped, or all of them. And it's very tough in those circumstances to continue with some kind of a normal life. And then the other side of your question asked, what can we separate fake news from not? Think about this report in the New York Times that reported that Israel bombed a hospital in Gaza. We found out very quickly this is not true. It was a failed missile from Gaza that hit their own hospital. They also thankfully did not kill many patients, but they reported to do a lot of it. And there's no question that the war is very much a war on public opinion. And fake news is playing a big role in this. And one of the challenges with fake news is that fake news can be, if you drop the need to be truthful, it can always be more exciting. Truth is not that interesting on average. If you drop the need to be truthful, you can always become more exciting, and the world is built on an attention economy and quick clicking, and much easier to create interesting fake news that get people to be enticed and interested and share and so on. And from that perspective, when social media networks started, we were all hopeful that this would be the next phase of democracy. If you remember the Arab Spring in Egypt, we're hoping that these platforms are going to bring democracy to the world. I think it's obvious now that they're doing the opposite. Whether you look at QAnon or you look at the COVID conspiracies, I think in the Czech Republic, you had lots of challenges with fake news around COVID, if I remember correctly, and quite low trust in your own government that has not recovered. But I think I'm just remembering that. I'm not sure I'm correct. Maybe it's fake news. This is actually a real threat on the progress of this planet. If you asked me 10 years ago, what are the big threats to society, misinformation would not be one of them. If you ask me now, what are the threats to society, misinformation would certainly be one of those. Anyway, I'm deeply sorry I can't stay for longer. I wish I could be there in person, and I'm hoping that next time I will be able to come in person. I also was hoping to talk a little bit about some findings we have about human capital and stock market return. Not just talk about depressing things, but also about good things, about investing in human capital in specific ways that make companies more profitable, but hopefully next time. So until then, wishing all of us better days and the ability to manage this complexity of what we're experiencing. Okay, bye for now.